Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Anime King 3. And today I'm going to be giving you a new series. What if Naruto had the ultimate nature bloodline? The ultimate nature bloodline. You guys will find out more about this when the series begin. But guys, if you enjoyed this and you want to see part 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. And also guys, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, just know I have 3 channels. Yes guys, 3 channels. This is Anime King, I have Anime King 2 and Anime King. I post what if on each of them every single day for you guys to enjoy. So stay tuned and I really hope that you do enjoy. So what do you say we start this new series guys? Begin the episode. The Uzumaki clan. A clan known for their Fuinjutsu. A clan so feared that it took 3 hidden villages to wipe it out. But it was not just their Fuinjutsu why they were feared through the Elemental Nation. It was because of their leader, a man known as Kaido Uzumaki. His great-great-grandfather also possessed the eyes that he did. Eyes that they came to call the Nature Eye. It is awoken within a Uzumaki in a traumatic way with family. The Uzumakis are always about their family. They always love their family, as family was everything to them. That is why it had to do something with their family. The loss of someone dear to you, it doesn't matter if they were your husband, wife. That is how strange I was. It wouldn't awaken only if it was your blood relative. Only if someone with the same blood running through your veins. If you saw them in desperate need, pain or suffering, and if you lacked the power to do anything, you awaken the Nature Eye. But this bloodline was so rare, the Uzumakis thought that it was a strange mutation. But it only occurred twice. Twice in the history of the Uzumaki clan. The first man that awoke in the eye was said to have lived a long time ago, near to the era of the Sage of Six Paths. Many thought that it was a myth, but when Kaido awoke in the eye, it was known to be a reality. What many people did not know was that Kaido was related to that man, as that man was his grandfather, great, going down into the generations. Uzumakis live until there were hundreds, up to 150. The oldest Uzumaki to ever live went up to 210. Yes, their vitality is something rather rare. The great went on and on. But Kaido knew his family history. It was in his blood, as Kaido took over as the Uzumaki leader in his time, when the Third Great Shinobi War was going on. Well, before that. But the Uzumakis were always peaceful. They didn't want to be in the war. They wanted to be as far away from it as possible. The Uzumakis made a pact with Konoha, as they gave them Uzumakis that had the bloodline, the strong blood and chakra that could hold the demon fox at bay. Mito Uzumaki was the first person to seal the fox inside of her. And there was another that was born with that blood as well. Her name was Kushina Uzumaki, as she was already at Konoha, training to be a Kunoichi, the successor of the Nine-Tailed Fox. But it wasn't a good day for the Uzumakis at all. Bodies litter everywhere. Bodies were all around. The place was filled with it. Most of the bodies contained right here. Some of them Kiri, some of them Kumo, some of them in stone. It was rather strange. After all, the Uzumakis were not a full village. They were just a clan of people yet. The bodies of Kiri ninjas, Kumo ninjas and stone ninjas over to the other side were in the thousands. It seemed like someone had arrived and wreaked havoc. And that person stood in the center of the battlefield. He had 3 swords sticking through his chest. Kunais, shurikens, later in his body, his armor had long been broken off, his guards were dead. But the man's eyes were brightly shining. Kaido Uzumaki stood there in all his might and glory, as his eyes were fluctuating with the nature bloodline. The eyes were a wonderful masterpiece. They were blue. In the very center, that was a representation of pure chakra. That blue was locked in a circle, and around that circle was red. This was said to be the blood ties that belonged to the Uzumaki. And around that red was a vibrant shade of gold, a mixture of the ability that the eye possessed. As Kaido was given the ability to use all nature transformation, every single one of them, to hear that someone could use that sounded rather impossible. Kaido did. That is why the area was surrounded in ice. There was also trees, wood, lava. The sky was still crackling from the storm release. Some of the shinobi's bodies had been melted, some of them had been literally exploded. Some of them were burned so badly it wasn't even a fire release technique, it was scorch release. Not to mention magnet release as well. Crystal release. Every single nature transformation, Kaido knew them all. A man of his age, as Kaido was in his 80s despite looking like he was in his late 40s. That was the longevity of the Uzumaki clan. Kaido had studied all of the nature affinities, all of the transformations, and his eyes allow him to control them all. That didn't mean that he did not train. He still had to find out about them and learn them. But with this ability, Kaido was feared as one of the most powerful men in the world right now. That is why the right Kage was on his knees. A rather bulky man from Kumo, looking powerful, said to have the ability to use one finger to slice you right in half. The man looked like he was about to die at any moment. Over to the other side was Miu, the second Tishikage. And over to the left, smashed up against a wall, was Genjutsu, the second Mizukage of Kiri. The man was dead. Miu picked himself back up, panting for breath. "It's over, Kaido," he said. "You've lost." Kaido had a smile on his face despite the havoc that he just reaped. The 2 tails, the 4 tails, and the 3 tails were all dead. They will take a while to reform. Each nation had brought a Biju to take down the Uzumakis, and Kaido had killed them all. Kaido was not here. He was off on an important meeting. When he came back to ruins. His people fought strong and hard, but still they fall to the combined force of the 3 nations. But Kaido came back. Seeing all of his people slaughtered, the man lost it. The man split the heavens and the sky. He squashed ninjas after ninjas. He incinerated, he obliterated. But despite that, he was still only one man. His guards were killed and he was left alone, killing 3 Jinchurikis who had fired Biju bombs at the same time, which a man had literally tanked with his abilities. Facing off against the right Kage and 2 other Kages, Kaido eventually fell. As the man dropped to his knees, Miu walked over, looking down at the fallen leader. "I must say, I never expected you to last this long, or either kill the Mizukage. But it does not matter. Your people are now non-existent, said Mew. The power balance shall return back to the world. The Uzumakis have been defeated. The Raikage could not say anything. He was in too much pain to speak. Kaido simply smiled. What's so funny? Finally realizing that you're on your deathbed. No. The man said, looking up at Mew defiantly. You should know something, young one. The Uzumakis will never fall. With that, Kaido started to drop, face first dead, leaving Mew to only scoff. As he looked around destruction, they had brought thousands plus 3 Bijus against a couple of members. The Uzumaki clan wasn't even a village. Just a few hundred members, and yet they were all dead. The only thing that remained was him and the Raikage. The Raikage finally managed to catch his breath, still bleeding heavily from his left shoulder, as his arm was completely gone. The man looked over at Mew, grabbing his stump, before looking towards the dead leader. Kaido's eyes returned back to normal under his eye socket, as the nature eyes vanish. Once the Uzumaki died, the eyes are useless. So whatever they're thinking right now, it will never work. Time skip. As the Uzumakis had fallen, Konoha arrived too late towards the scene, and when they were there was nothing they could do. Hiruzen thought that Kaido could handle any threat thrown his way, but it seems that the nations decided to take out one of Konoha's biggest supporters. Fuinjutsu was really a problem in the Elemental Nation because the other nations did not have the full capability to use it like the Uzumaki could. So they wiped out that so Konoha could no longer win the war. But that only spurred one young red-head to train intensely hard. Kushina Uzumaki trained their ass off to get revenge on those people that destroyed their clan. She trained non-stop, turning into a bloody red-head habanero, her signature nickname on the battlefield. People start to fear her name, as the last thing they saw before they died was a flash of red hair. But that was not the only thing. A ninja had rise up in the ranks. From his birth, everyone knew that he was born for greatness, given the fact that his mother was one of the legendary Sanins. Tsunade Senju had given birth to a son. His name was Minato Senju. She had her kid quite young, when she was with Dan. Yes, but Dan had died, leaving her a single mother. Tsunade had lost a lot in her lifetime, but Minato brought a ray of sunshine back to her life, and she held on to everything she had. Jiren knew that the woman was still mourning for Dan's death, and not to mention she was focusing everything she got on Minato. So he did not do anything out of the way. Instead, he became like a father figure for Minato, as he trained the boy, until the boy surpassed him. Minato went on the battlefield, as he faced off against thousands of stone shinobis. That is when he was given his name. His mother had gave him access towards Tobirama Library, and he was able to find the scrolls of the Harashin and improve it. And he became the Yellow Flash. That is what brought the both of them together. Seeing that Tsunade knew Kushina. Kushina was not related to Mito by, like, grandmother or anything like that. They were just from the same clan, and she just happened to have the same chakra. As Minato got to know her from then, the both of them went on a couple of missions together, and they fell for each other. Tsunade really approved of this relationship because she liked Kushina a lot. In fact, she already saw the girl as her daughter and know that Minato was going to marry her. It just made everything better. So that is how the time passed. The red hot habanero of Konoha and the Yellow Flash were a beast on the battlefield. They forced the other nations into submission as they were afraid. Konoha has the strongest ninjas and they cannot fall. Everyone feared the names. As the time passed by, Minato was given the title of Hokage by Hiruzen. His mother was so proud of him, and his wife as well. Minato had impregnated Kushina. And Snazzy was the one that checked her, only to find out that she was gonna have 3 wonderful babies. 2 boys and 1 girl. They already picked out names, as Snazzy got to name the girl Mito. Kushina named one of the boys Naruto, a name that she really liked. And Minato named the other boy Menma. Things went on peacefully until the tragic night. A tragic night that a masked man think that he could actually take on Konoha. Because Snazzy was there. Orochimaru was also there, including Jiraiya and Hiruzen, while Kushina was giving birth. So when the masked man showed up, he was able to kidnap one of the babies by using that strange intangibility jutsu. But before he could completely wreak havoc on the village, Minato would teleport them all out of there. He was able to kidnap Kushina though. Given that the seal was extremely weakened from her giving birth to 3 babies, Kushina couldn't fight back against him at all, and he ripped the 9 tails out of her at the valley. A far distance away in the land of fire where no civilians were around, Minato flashed towards Kushina there, as he had a seal placed on her. But he did not flash alone, he brought everyone with him. Snazzy, Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and Hiruzen. The masked man was powerful indeed. But when Minato came back vengeful, the masked man did not stand a chance, as Minato was able to find out about his intangibility jutsu and break his control over the fox. The masked man's plan was ruined. The fox was not able to destroy the village at all. It got nowhere near the village, but they still had a problem. Kushina had passed out as she had given birth to 3 babies. The woman was literally exhausted. They had a problem though. What were they gonna do with the 9 tails? He could not seal it back in Kushina because seal would break and she would die. He didn't want her to die. He wanted to raise her kids. Minato also didn't want to die neither because he wanted to grow his 3 babies, but still, he had to for the village safety. Given that the fox was in the land of fire, it would eventually make its way towards the village, but Snazzy was against this. So they came up with a compromise. Given that the fox chakra could be split, they did something rather clever, something that saved them. Minato was able to use the iron seal. Minato fortified the iron seal with hundreds of other seals. The iron seal was powerful, but it was not anywhere close to the Reaper Dead seal. So he just fortified the iron seal and used the babies. He had to. He knew that Kushina would be pissed, but he had to. In doing so, he sent the soul of the fox inside the first baby. But it ended up causing a problem because 50% of the fox chakra went inside of the boy. It was Naruto. The other 50% was split as it went inside of Menma and Mito. As he fortified the seals, no one died. Time after, he passed out because he was exhausted from doing the strain on his coils. As he was placed in hospital, both him and Kushina were placed in an induced coma so that they could rest. But everyone survived, and the 3 babies were born. They were wonderful. Time skip. Kushina was currently fixing the bed. As she pouted a bit, she knew that they had maids, but still, she liked to do it ever so often. Not to mention she had put her shinobi career on hold because she wanted to raise her kids. But eventually will start school soon, and she will start up her shinobi career again. Perhaps she thought to herself, she didn't really know. After all, she could become a jonin, and get some genin students. It would be rather unfair if she got all of her kids. But still. She shrugged it off as she fixed the bed. It was then that she heard a loud ruckus. They were in the Senju compound. That is where they live. The whole village knew of them, and they knew of their kids. The 3 heirs to both clan, the Uzumakis and the Senju. Kushina saw something rush past her room, a patch of red hair. She turned her head. Mito? Yeah, Mom? A soft voice came. What's going on? Nothing. As the footsteps run away once again. Again, Kushina says she made her way outside. It was then that she heard something crash. Her hair started wild up in the air as she stepped inside the kitchen. What the hell is going on, she asked. It was there that she saw Naruto grabbing Minma by the shirt. Minma grabbing Naruto by the shirt as her face was pulled back. Mito had a rather large bat in her hand, ready to slap the both of them over their heads with it. Trying to stop them. Or did she want to knock them out to get that? In the middle of them was a cupcake on the table. As Naruto was the first one to look at her, he had a perfect mixture of blue and purple, both her and Minato eyes. He had red hair that went down towards his shoulder, with spiky trail in it. It was a mixture. Mito had fully red hair. Minma had mostly blonde, with just a tinge of red in it. What's going on? She asked once again. They stole my cupcake, said Mito as she turned towards her mother with a pleading face. It's mine, said Minma. No, it's mine, said Naruto. I got one, said Mito. You guys got two. No, you're lying, Naruto said. Kushina made her way forward and picked up the cupcake. Well, it's mine now, she said. Got a problem with that, she asked. All three of them looked at each other. Before they gulped. I didn't think so, she said, as Naruto nodded towards the both of them, seeming to work together now. Mom, they said, as she looked back. Her heart melted as they all gave her the puppy dog eyes. She rushed over and hugged them. Oh, she said, she held on to him tight. I'll buy you guys all the cupcakes you want. As Naruto smiled. Well, after you clean up this mess, she said. Naruto blinked. What? Oh, Naruto-kun, you've done this so many times before. Giving them the plan to go ahead with those puppy dog eyes jutsu as you call it. I overheard your conversation. Naruto's heart started to beat rapidly, as his mother was hugging him a bit tighter than usual. So, it's not gonna work fully this time. I'm sorry, said Naruto, as he looked at her with pleading eyes. Damn it, she cursed. As it broke her, she just squeezed in a tight hug. Fine, you get all the cupcakes you want, but clean up the mess, she said. Yeah, said Mito, we'll do that. As Minma simply nodded, as she released them, they got to work cleaning up the mess. Kushina smiled as she looked towards her three babies. Meanwhile, the office. Minato groaned. Another day of paperwork. In times of peace, there's been nothing but paperwork. A chuckle could be heard as Hiruzen was in the couch, looking over towards him. What's so funny? Asked Minato. Oh, nothing, Hiruzen said, as he waved Minato off. So, how's everything going? Hiruzen asked. You could see the bags under Minato's eyes. And surprisingly, it was not from paperwork. They're really that troublesome? Asked Hiruzen. They fight all day, mostly Naruto and Minma. Mito smiled at Angel, but she's also kind of sneaky. And you know that Naruto has that temper of his. Hiruzen chuckled, yes. Naruto was just like his mother, maybe even worse. It was like you took Snatty personality and took Kushina personality and slapped it together, mixed it into something more deadly. Minma was more subdued, like his father, but he was also one to play pranks and give trouble as well. And Mito, she was sneaky, always acting like that little princess when she gave a lot of trouble most times. Minato shook it off though. But I love them, he said. I can't complain. That we can't, Hiruzen said, as he smiled, as his kids were 5 years old. He just loved them so much. Going home and hearing them calling his name, it was just a ray of sunshine. And Kushina had made sure that they weren't spoiled. Well, she lost that battle because she was just too broken into their charms. But Snatty had lost the battle as well. Jiraiya tried, but he lost the battle as well. But surprisingly, they weren't that spoiled, despite everyone in the village treat them like literal kings. Like the road they walk on was pristine. Minato looked towards the papers on his desk. Another one, he said, as he passed the paper to Hiruzen. Another marriage proposal towards Naruto. And there was another one for Minmay yesterday. As many families wanted to start a little relationship. Nothing to be over dramatic, but to lock it in for the future. After all, the three of them were heirs to the Senju and the Uzumaki clan. But Minato wouldn't accept any of that, especially when it comes towards little princess. They better get the hell away from her. And his boys were too young for any sort of this, despite it was only an arrangement. But he was gonna let his boys pick their life. And his princess could date when she was probably 30. As he said that out loud. Hiruzen simply laughed. That's gonna make she end up hating you, he said. Yeah, I know. But I just wanna keep her at that age, you know, said Minato. I know what you mean, Hiruzen said. A fond look on his face. The window then cracked open. So, what's going on in here, said the voice. Ah, my wayward student, said Hiruzen, as Jiraiya gave him a small glare. But Hiruzen simply shrugged it off. So, Sensei, what do you got for me? Asked Minato. Well, there hasn't been much going on lately. Seems like everything has been quiet. A little bit too quiet, if I must say, said Hiruzen. Yes, I know what you mean, said Minato. Seems like everything is just perfect. And whenever everything is perfect, there's always a storm, said Jiraiya. Well, there's nothing much, except for the conflict brewing and Kiri. I've heard rumors that the Mizukage is going mad. I've heard talks that he's killing off the bloodline members. That must be false. Sensei, my spinal cord is never false, said Jiraiya. But why would he do that? Asked Minato as he turned towards Jiraiya. I have no idea. Perhaps he's really gone mad. But that's just wait to be seen. But it's just rumors right now, we'll just have to wait. So how are the kids doing, Jiraiya asked. Well, they miss their grandfather, Jiraiya, said Minato. You always leave for so long. You know why. Yeah. Don't worry, I'll visit them today. Not to mention I brought them some gifts. You know you aren't supposed to spoil them that much, right? We're not spoiling them. We're just making sure that they're happy. They're very happy, thank you, said Minato. Alright, fine, I'm spoiling them, said Jiraiya, as he jumped back to the window. Minato shook his head. It's not like he had anything against his kids. He just didn't want them to grow up spoiled and felt they had everything they want. He wanted them to understand this ninja world. That is dangerous. For them to understand reality. But they were still young, they could enjoy themselves. But they shouldn't be arrogant and spoiled. As he knew that firsthand. His mother had beat that out of him a long time ago when he was acting all arrogant when he first got the Harashin. Speaking of his mother, she had taken over the hospital full time. She and her apprentice Shizune, as the mortality rate in Konoha has dropped. Sickness were getting out of the hospital in the same day. Illness, everything was going so wonderful. But Minato felt that there was a storm coming. Yes, there was. Time skip. Mito slowly made her way onto the grassy area. As she was in the park where she waved towards her best friend Ino. But Ino did not wave back to her because Ino was currently being pushed. Mito rushed over as fast as possible. Hey, what are you doing? She said. A rather tall bully, looked like he was already in the academy, stood over her. He had black beady eyes, jet black hair back. He was a rather stubby kid. Hey, get out of here, he says. He pushed her. Mito was knocked off balance as she dropped right in her butt. She glared up at him defiantly. She clenched her fist. What are you gonna do? Punch me? As the boy scoffed. Ino, what's going on? Asked Mito. They're bullying this girl. As Mito turned her head as she saw the girl with pink hair. Bullying her? Yeah, don't you see, the bully said. She has a rather large forehead. And we can do what we want, so scram, brat. The girl was crying. Don't cry, Sakura, Ino said. I'll kick their ass. Huh, like you can do something like that. The bully simply laughed. Touch her and I'll get my big brothers on you, said Mito. Your big brothers? Another one of the bullies walked over. I know you, he said. You're that kid, the Hokage's kid, right? Yeah, but that doesn't have to do with anything. I'll defeat you myself, she said. The boy simply laughed. I know about your brothers, Naruto and Mainma, right? Heard they're quite the troublemaker. But it doesn't matter. Why don't you go and get them? For me to finally show that, despite being Hokage's kid, it doesn't matter. Mito rushed over, she grabbed onto the pink-haired girl's hand. Come on, she said. Sakura blinked, surprised that this girl would just help her right away and not make fun of her forehead. As she grabbed Ino's arm, where are we going? Ino asked. I'm gonna get help, said Mito as she brought them straight towards the compound. By the time they arrived, Sakura was panting, including Ino. Mito was also panting as well as she saw both Naruto and Menma. The both of them stood in the training field. As their eyes were serious, their gaze were locked on each other. Brothers! The both of them turned their head. As Ino tried to wipe the sweat away, trying to make herself look presentable. To her two crushes, she didn't know which one she liked so much. Sakura's eyes went widen. So they are her brothers? What's wrong? Said Naruto as he noticed his scuff mark on her dress. Her red little dress. I was in the park and this bully. He was bullying my new friend. Sakura blinked. Friend? Who? Said Naruto. Where is he? Said Menma. He's in the park that I usually go to play with Ino. Naruto looked towards Menma. As the both of them walked off. Stay here. As they made their way. Like hell I will, said Mito as she made her way inside. Before she was grabbed by Ino. What are you doing? They said that they can handle it. I know, but I won't allow them to fight alone. I'm gonna help as well. But do you really think that we can? Asked Sakura. Ino went over, and so did Mito as Mito placed a hand on Sakura's shoulders. We can do anything, as long as we're strong enough, she said. I'm gonna go get my trusted friend. Your trusted friend? Mito smiled at that, as she made her way inside. Meanwhile, so you're the big bully, said Naruto. Huh, so you guys came, huh? As Menma narrowed his eyes. Heard you mess with our sister, he said. Yeah, what you gonna do about it? Naruto laughed. You do realize it's the two of us, right? And it's only one of you. I'm glad you say that, the bully said as he snapped his finger. It was then that they got surrounded. Literally, 15 kids came out of the bushes and from behind the trees. You just had to act, said Menma. Huh, guess I did, said Naruto. So, how about you brats go on your knees and beg for forgiveness? The bully said to Naruto and Menma. Huh, look boss, he's already crying. One of his lackeys said as he pointed towards Naruto. As Naruto was shaking, Menma narrowed his eyes towards Naruto. Huh, you gone and done it now, he said. What? The bully said. Oh, trust me, he's not crying. He get a kick out of fighting. See, we're like that in a way, but he's more wild than me. What? The bully said, confused, as Naruto snapped his head up with a grin on his face. For hurting my little sister, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you, said Naruto. You really think that you can do that? It's just the two of you. Well, that is all we need, right, brother, said Naruto. Well, you did steal my juice, said Menma. Naruto blinked. Now, really? Menma said. It's for Mito, said Naruto. Well, Menma cracked his knuckles. Guess you're right. As the bullies charged. Meanwhile, back at the house, as Kushina was in a private study, going through a Fuinjutsu book, when she heard running. Stop running in the house, she said. Sorry, Mom. She felt like something was off as she came outside to see Mito once again with that damn bat. She really has to hide that better. Mito, what are you doing now? What did Naruto and Menma do? Mito, what are you doing now? 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 Who are you? As Kushna turned her head to see a new girl standing there. Oh, this is my new friend. She was getting bullied, so I went in to save her. And one of the bullies pushed me. What? Kushna said. I got Menma and Ruta and they went out there. Kushna sighed, knowing that this is gonna be trouble. She quickly made her way out there as well, to stop them from doing anything reckless. As she knew how Naruto get, especially when it comes towards Mito. And Menma was even worse in a way, because he was a silent and deadly type. Because he didn't show that he wanted to fight. Well, Naruto did, but Menma just seemed like he wouldn't attack you, but then out of the blue, he did. So with that, she made her way out there, but it was already done. Kushina saw the both of them, drenched in sweat, as they had blood run down their lip. Seemed like they got hit a few times. But despite that, the both of them had a smile on their face. All the bullies were knocked down to the ground. Some of them in pain and some of them unconscious. It didn't matter that the bullies were already in school. Naruto and Menma had already been trained already. The both of them always wanted to be stronger. The both of them were limping over towards Mom, said Naruto. Don't give me that. What have you gotten yourself into? They started it, said Naruto. Before he started to fall, as Kushina caught the both of them. As Naruto was out like a light, exhausted. Thanks, Mom, said Menma. He smiled at her before he passed out as well. The next day, I'm sorry, said Naruto as he bowed his head towards the parents of the bullies. We're sorry as well, the bully said. Isn't that better, said Kushina. Now everyone can go their merry way, and no fighting. You guys hear that? One of the parents of the bully said. Yeah, we do. How about you two? Said Kushina. Yeah, we're sorry. As Naruto cracked open an eye and stick out his tongue. The bully eye snapped towards him. As Naruto simply laughed in his mind, as Menma didn't say anything. Time skip. You know Mom and Dad's gonna kill us for this, right? Said Menma. Come on. We didn't got to do any training today. Because we were injured, said Naruto. But we were, said Menma. But we healed fast, Naruto said. As the both of them are currently at the backyard of the Senju compound. They had snuck out of bed. Their father was not back home yet. He was having a meeting with some Kumo people. Naruto didn't quite know who it was, but his mother didn't seem to like it one bit. She was angry. But she was asleep, so they snuck out of the house for their training. After all, they had to be in tip-top shape. At the moment, Minato was having a meeting with the Kumo ambassadors. But it was all a setup. At this very moment, someone was being kidnapped. The heir of the Hyuga compound. As it was strange, given that all of them had the Byakugan, and yet they allow someone to sneak in their compound. This person must be a master of stealth. Him and his crew was there, as they waited for the right moment. The Senju compound was rather close, really close to the Hyuga compound. So when Naruto went out into the backyard, where the trees were, he could see over at the Hyuga compound. It was then that he saw the person. Hey, he grabbed Menma and pulled him down. What the hell is wrong with you, said Menma. Look, said Naruto. What? It's a Hyuga. I don't think so. They don't dress like that. And besides, his eyes are not freaky looking, you know? Yeah, you're right, said Menma. What the hell? What are we supposed to do? Well, I don't know what they want. But they look like ninjas, right? Dad warned us about this. Did you bring the kunai? No, said Naruto. We could run back to the house. Wait, what's that? As Naruto saw one of them holding someone, the person was asleep. Menma's eyes went wide. Is that Hinata? He couldn't be sure. They knew the very shy Hinata because their father was invited over towards the Hyuga compound. And their mother was invited over to the Uchiha compound because of her best friend Mikoto. So they knew many people, and they were always invited and they had to act, well, in tradition. Hey, they're getting away, as they had to take the backyard, leaping over the fence of the Senju compound to leave. We have to stop them. That was the thought that rushed through both of their minds as they did on instinct as they jumped in the way. Stop right there, said Naruto. As Menma picked up a stone, a rather large one, seeing that he didn't have any kunas on him. It was just hand-to-hand practice that he wanted to do. But the stone wasn't for the purpose of throwing it towards the enemies. What the hell? A couple of brats? As Naruto got ready. But the next thing he knew, a harsh kick slammed into his back. Menma's eyes went wide. Now, psh! Menma was hit in the stomach hard by a punch. As Naruto watches Menma drop to the ground groaning. Hey, hold on. These brats. It can't be. No, it can't be. Jackpot. Seems like we struck gold, boys. The descriptions that we gotten, it's them, isn't it? Not to mention, look where we are. This is a Senju compound. If there's any place for the fourth Hokage to live, he would live at this compound, right? Yeah, you're right. Let's take them. This will be wonderful. I'm sure the Raikage would praise us for this. Let go of him, said Naruto. As the guy did on purpose as he slammed his fist into Menma's stomach once again, knocking Menma out cold. What was that? As he picked up Menma, you know, your father did a lot in the Third Great Shinobi War. Hurt a lot of our people. So maybe I should as he pull a kunai and place it at Menma's throat. Hey, what the hell are you doing? Hey, I'm not gonna. It's just fun. Well, we don't have time for fun. Let's get them and go. Take your hand off my brother, said Naruto. The man moved forward to hold Naruto. Let him go, Naruto screamed. The man stepped back when he saw Naruto's eyes shifting into something differently. His grip tightened on Menma. Hey, what's up with this brat? He's gonna cause too much attention. Hurry up and knock him the hell out. As the second one moved forward, as Naruto felt something strange, it felt like electricity was running through his veins. He didn't notice, but his eyes changed at that very moment. No, he screamed, but his sound wave was amplified. As a sonic boom came out of Naruto's mouth. The man grabbed his ears in pain as his eardrums exploded. Immediately, Hyugas were on their direction. As the other one had jumped back so he wasn't caught up in the sound effect. Naruto was unsure of what he just did. But the man was on the ground screaming, holding on to his ears. As Naruto first awakened, the sound released Kekkei Genkai. Unknowingly. As he looked confused until someone dashed past him. As the person had saw through the sack. The man leaped away, but it was too late as he was delivered a swift strike to the heart by Hayashi Hyuga, who caught both Menma and caught the sack. He placed Menma down as he opened the sack. Inside was his sleeping daughter. A vengeful look was in the man's eyes as he turned towards the last one, who saw that he was surrounded. He pulled out a kunai and looked at them. As he was giving strict orders, he could not be captured as he slit his throat right there and then, killing himself. As Naruto watched, instantly one of the Hyugas stepped in front of him, blocking his sight so he would not see the gruesome scene. But he already saw it. Hayashi looked towards Naruto's eyes. But Naruto fell unconscious as a Hyuga caught Naruto in his arm. Time skip. Snappy took the boys into bed, making sure that they were okay. Yes, they were fine. As she marched downstairs, she was pissed off. As she entered, Minato was sitting there in the living room. Kushina was there to the side as well. Minato's face was dark, his expression showing nothing but absolute rage. So what are we gonna do about this? First thing first, I want some answers before I do anything, said Minato. Kushina was fuming. They came after her once before, and now after her kids? Her kids? As she had to keep her voice down because she didn't want to wake Mito, or probably wake the boys. Time skip. As Naruto woke up confused, he had a throbbing headache, as he didn't remember much that happened last night. All that he remembered was that there was this loud sound, and it wasn't loud to him, but it was loud, and yeah, he didn't remember that much. His eyes then snapped open wide as he saw. You remember the blood. It's okay, it's okay. He looked towards his side. He realized that he was in his room. Instead, he was in his parents' bed. Both him, Menma, and Mito, they were all inside the bed, just lying down there. To his side was his grandmother. Well, he couldn't call her that. She said it made her sound old and he should never do it. Instead, he should call her Snatheheim. Snatheheim, he said. She smiled at that, at least he remembered. What happened? Snathy was transfixed on his eyes. As she was confused. No, it couldn't be, could it? Kushina. Kushina was jumped out of her sleep. She had stayed up with them the entire night, just watching over them because of her motherly instinct. But she ended up falling asleep in the morning, and Snadia came in and placed a blanket over her. And she came to see Naruto wake up. As Kushina turned, she blinked as she looked towards Naruto, especially his eyes. Before she looked towards Snavi. What's going on? Said Naruto. Naruto-kun, do you feel indifferent? Asked Kushina. No, I'm fine, said Naruto. What's wrong? Kushina stepped out of the room and she came back a moment later with a glass, a mirror, small one. Your eyes. As Naruto saw his eyes, gold, red, and blue. Well, what happened to my eyes? He said. Calm down, she said. This is something not foreseen in history, she said. I never thought it would happen 3 times because I heard it was so rare. What's so rare? Said Naruto. What are you talking about? It makes sense now. What Hayashi was talking about last night. It was curious, but I thought the man was overseeing things. Well, he was a Hyuga, so he could not mistake things. Mom, I don't understand, said Naruto. Naruto-kun, it seems like you have awakened a bloodline. A Uzumaki bloodline. Uzumaki bloodline? I'll explain more about it later, but just know, this is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. A very, very good thing. Really? She nodded. Yes, Naruto-kun, said Kushina. It's a very good thing. Naruto looked towards Nadi, who just gave him a smile. Time skip. Hayashi was in the office. Along with Minato, there was a man in front of them, sitting in a chair, who looked rather nervous. He was the representative from Kumo. As the man finished speaking, he gulped. Because the eyes of Minato was dark, it was looking like he was about to kill him at any second. And he could do it, being the fastest man in the world right now. The man looked at Minato as he tried to avert his gaze. So let me get this right, said Minato. What you're trying to say is that you do not believe that Konoha had a right to kill that man who went after the Hyuga heiress, and not to mention my sons. But you believe I should hand over the person that killed him so that your village can do what you want with him. And that would be Hayashi Hyuga right here. Yes, that is the right Kage's word, or this will be a problem, the man said. Hayashi knew that things was gonna be troubling once all of this starting up. And this didn't look good for him at all, as he knew from preventing a war, one life could be spared to prevent one war, and that life would have to be his. After all, he was the one that dealt the killing blow to the man. Despite there being no evidence, Kumo was trying to say that Konoha just killed the man because he wanted to. And what about the autopsy in the other body? The one that slit his own throat? The Raikage said that is not enough evidence, the man said. Excuse me, your name was Aoi, wasn't it? Yes, the man said. Minato got up from his seat as he looked towards the window. So you want the head of one of my council members and leader of the Hyuga clan because of what your people did? Well, you don't have any evidence that we did anything. So, Hokage, Donald, if you would. Minato snapped his head towards the man as the man flinched in his chair. Listen to me straight. I want you to listen to me perfectly, said Minato. Minato was already pissed that you were trying to find a common ground the man had started something so stupid to start up something between them. And now he wants the head of his Hyuga leader? I want you to go back and tell your Raikage no. The man was surprised that Minato would refuse this. Even Hayashi was surprised. But no but, said Minato. Go back and tell A that if you want to start something where there is no evidence, even after all the autopsy report that his own man slit his own throat, and not to mention him taking off his Kumo headband and hiding it on his person in a seal that we found into his arm, just to make sure that there is barely enough evidence to show that Kumo was the one that kidnapped the Hyuga heiress. Go and tell him no. If he wants to fight because of this, then I'm ready, said Minato. Would you really risk a war because of... Yes, said Minato. Because he not only went after the heiress of Hyuga Clan, but those bastards tried to take my son. So no. No one will be sacrificing their life to anyone in Kumo. Now get out of my office. But get out of my office before I kill you, said Minato. As the man's eyes were dark, the man quickly got to his feet as he left immediately. As Hayashi was surprised, as he was just looking at the Minato that took down thousands of stone shinobis on the battlefield. Minato plopped down in his chair as he released a sigh. Hayashi said nothing for a few seconds. I know that was probably stupid, said Minato, but I will not give in to threats or demands, no matter what. And they know that they did wrong, and yet they still want to blame this on us. Well, it doesn't matter, said Minato. I myself was a witness. So I assure you, if anything is to take place, you will have the full support of the Hyuga clan, said Hayashi. As Minato gave the man a small smile and nodded. But if the Raikage wanted to start something, let him. Konoha will be ready. This might start another war, but Minato was not going to give in to their demands for something that they started. Screw them. Meanwhile, Naruto was surprised as he looked towards his mother and his grandmother as they were showing him a book. Wait, I have all Kekkei Genkai releases? As he was shocked. He couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you enjoy seeing 1C Part 2, guys, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support. And remember, cheers to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also, guys, thank you for the rest of what is coming your way. And I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. But I'm off now. See you guys soon. Peace.